is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. So this season's PC car is the Venom GT Spyder, which means if you only have this one Hennessy car, and there are a few in the game, but if this is the only one you have, you're going to have to use it for supply cups. I'm going to give you my setup for supply cups with minimal upgrades. This will ensure that you blow through them with plenty of ease, because this car really isn't all that easy to drive, and some people may find it difficult to get through the cups without a tune that makes you beat dyno substantially. This also means that if you're running into these cars in certain lobbies, you may want to consider before you bet money against them. Okay, here we go. Without much upgrades, you can do stage 2 or even higher stage nitrous, it doesn't matter, up to 5. No body. Stage 5 tire is important. This is part of what's important to trigger this. So you're going to need fusions and upgrades. Now if you lower this and you don't have as many fusions, you notice this will change. It doesn't mean that you cannot achieve the same thing. What you may have to do then is retweak the tune to make this happen. But nonetheless, majority of this tune relies on having enough grip to be able to get that massive evo drop, which gives you the dyno beating. So I can do this and still try to trigger it, but as you can see, it's not going to be as easy. And here is where it happens again, but that's a 25-second quarter mile. I'm not sure how the computer is going to take that, so it's going to be a little tricky overall to try to get that time to match up with something on the supply cups, which is why I would recommend you try to do a little faster. But the 9.8 versus this one, which is 9.6, unfortunately this one isn't going to be really a recognized tune where you're going to be able to do well. So, you know, we can take a run with it. Remember, supply cups are mostly quarter mile, not half mile, so you don't really care about the half mile time. We're just looking at the quarter mile time. But the 9.8 to 9.6, yeah, well, it looks like it could be possible. There was a not evo drop, but a 0 RPM drop, which usually still is recognized. But of course, this is not going to be as good a run. So the question is whether this is a viable setup for supply cup. I personally would avoid it simply because it's not going to be as consistent and easy. A 10.7 versus a 9.8 is not a good thing. But I'll run it one more time to show you this, and then we'll go to the actual tune, which requires stage 5 fusion tire, which is just a little bit better. Okay, but even for this one, you can still get what you need to do this way. And then hit nitrous. The real question is whether it would do 9.6. I mean, it probably won't. You really need a bigger margin than that with a car like this to get what you want out of it. Okay, so I wanted to run both the half and the quarter just to give you the full picture of what it's doing. But again, not good, right? Okay, so that's not going to work. But once you move it to 21, you get this. That's 25 seconds. The car's not going to require 25 seconds to do a quarter mile. It's going to do it much quicker, and that hopefully will give you all the dyno beating you need to get through the supply cups. But it's rather slow still. It's not the best or the most optimal. You can do this even with higher upgrades up to a point. So, you know, I can have this set up to beat dyno by some, no matter what level I go to, but there is a limit. At some point when you have enough upgrades, it just won't do it. So 25 seconds, we're running 10. That should be good. There's an alternative where I like to sit things, which is the computer is going to give you a dyno of 11, and you'll be able to run 9s, which is probably a better margin to not confuse the computer too much, which requires basically stage 5. Nothing else really needs to be changed. I mean, I would put nitrous up a little bit more, but even if you don't, the evo drop is still there, therefore it's still capable of doing the same thing. It's going to be tuned slightly differently to achieve that 11 point something. So it's still negative 999, but if you look at a dyno, it's a 14.4 instead of, and if you put nitrous to stage 5, that'll be a 11.4. But the point is, With 14.4, that's a more reasonable time range within the quarter mile, and then now you don't have to beat it by 10-15 seconds, you just beat it by a few seconds. So here we go again. Again, launch late or launch early, just don't launch perfect so you get the RPM drop, and you should be able to run well under the dyno. That'll again ensure that supply cups will be easy for you. Okay, so 10 on a 14 dyno should be no problem. Let me we don't have supply cup up yet, but we do have, I believe, prize cup, which works the same way. So I'm gonna see if I can take a run on the prize cup and see if we can win that to show you how this works. Okay, because map races generally go off of your actual dyno. Here it is. Let's go take a race. Notice it says it's challenging because it's looking at your dyno and saying, it's going to be challenging for you. But the reality is, if that car is based off of my dyno, it's not going to be that challenging. Okay, so off we go. Notice the margin is getting pulled greater and greater. Of course, you know, all these prize cups are relatively easy to start with, so it's not exactly tough to beat it. But what I'm just trying to show you is basically how the computer matches you to opponents is mostly based on what your dyno says you should be running. Okay, so I'm going to go back. That opponent ran a 20. I believe my dyno is around that as well in the half mile, because that was a half mile run, and that's where the the cars are placed kind of right near where your dyno is. Let's look at my dyno. Should be right around 1920. 20, right? So it's, again, your opponents are going to be based off your dyno on supply cups as well, and this way you're beating dyno by about 4 seconds. You should have no problem beating the supply cup all throughout the season. Now, this can be used in a similar format even until you start to get pretty well upgraded with stage 6s. Try not to throw in body too early because it takes that away fast, but once you get stage 6 tire, of course, then it won't take it away as quickly. It'll just change the dynamics a little bit, but you can actually get away with something like this. Maybe not. Let me think. I know there is a, oh wait, I can tune it. Okay, so up to that point you should still be able to get the Evo drop. Now you're not going to be in negative 999 because you have so much Evo already that you can sacrifice the 6,700 without much of an issue. This is just pulling this down until you see the drop, and it'll be again almost a 900 drop, so it'll drop the Evo quite a bit. There it is. So 600 point drop, 10.8, 7.19 versus what it actually could run, which is closer to 9.761 in the. But if you're running like 6 seconds in the quarter mile, you really don't need to do this to win supply cups. It'll be pretty easy. But this is basically another Dyno Buster tune in 10.8. You'll lobby in like 11, 10.8, 10.5, 10.6, but beating dyno like this, of course, in live racing means you could win some money, but you won't be able to do this for very long. It's very quick to bump you when it realizes what you're doing. So okay, so that is the Venom GT Spyder with the dyno beating setups. Any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. If you like the video, leave a like. If you like my channel and would like to see videos like this, when I put them up, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get the notifications. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.